Hello, everyone. Welcome to our 19th episode of the Divine Mess. If it's your first time listening, not recording, because it's us doing the recording, we were just talking about that. So sorry for that. If it's your first time listening, oh my God, it's recording again. I'm saying, I don't know what's happening.
Breathe, Dava. Just take a
Let's
breath.
take a deep breath.
Ground yourself. Put your feet on the floor.
And I think it's too much excitement because we reach our 19th episode. We can't believe it. It felt like we just started on the first one and we say, welcome to the Divine Mess. So on the 19th as well, welcome to the Divine Mess. It's a podcast where we have crazy fun conversation about life and how to navigate through life with tools that we acquired over our journeys and some practical stuff that, and also our perspective, right? And we always talk about different perspective to different podcasts or learning that we have during the weeks or whatever happened to us. We try to maintain a little bit of privacy, which we don't sometimes. We ignore that.
No.
But it's so by the way, my name is Kirtideva Perumal. I'm living currently in New Zealand. I am the founder of the Hero's Mystic. It's a holistic life coach where we help you to find your inner hero and also embrace your divine masculine and feminine energy. And that's how we started that lovely podcast with my friend Tina Ryan. No, sorry, Tina Mary. Am I saying it right? Or should I say it with the French?
Marie.
Marie. Tina Marie.
That's it.
Yeah, and she's learning French, by the way, so we'll do one soon in French. She said so, right? Did you? Oh, sorry, I forgot to tell you. Yeah, so this is our crazy episode, I feel. It's to continue our C series, so crazy. But it's all about comeback because since we had a crisis of confidence, so it's about how we come back to our true self. And that's what we are going to talk about today. But I'm going to leave my co-host to introduce herself, give her some space. Now I can breathe. So
now that you have verbally vomited all of that. And only I can say that because I love you. You're awesome. Good morning, everybody. I'm Tina Marie, and like my good friend, my business is Dharmas & Co. So we help women after they've gone through what you would call a spiritual awakening, a slap up the backside of the head, a divorce, a separation, childbirth, which can be a massive slap up the backside of the head, big life changes that can be really hard to navigate through, to help you understand why they happen, how you can best navigate it to be your best self, and also how to love yourself better, how to love the people around you better, always with a sense of humor, and how to love what it is that you do. And if you don't love what you do, we help you find something that makes your heart happy and brings joy and fun and frivolity like this podcast does every week for us. So in terms of talking about the comeback, I was having a great think about that this morning at 4:30, as I do, because my delightful grandmother loves to talk to me in the middle of the night when everything is deathly silent. And she had sort of said, well, a comeback can be a lot of things. It can be a comeback from facing adversity. So it can be a comeback after you have gone through a relationship breakup, or it can be after you've been fired from a job, or after you've had a physical accident, shall we say, as I had earlier in the week. But it also can be a comeback to your true self. And sometimes that takes a long time to work out what that is, because when we were birthed into this world, we are put upon by everybody else's ideals and thoughts and processes. So basically it's like tipping a garbage truck right over the top of you, and it takes time to dig out from underneath to work out, well, that's definitely not mine, and that's definitely not mine, and oh, I don't mind that, so I'll hang on to that. And working your way through and understanding what your purpose is here and what it is that you're meant to be doing. And trust me, at nearly 49 years of age, I've worked out a few things, but I'm still working on a few others. As to, I started a business 2.5 years ago, and I wanted it to look a certain way. And now I've just had a dawning realization in the last couple of weeks that the reasons for it being started, one was to assert independence, but the other was kind of a little bit of a middle finger to a few people that I didn't particularly like. And I wanted to prove myself, which is never a good way to start something, even though I felt in my heart I was doing it for all the right reasons. There was a tiny little bit of, well, you guys can all go jump in the lake because I know I can do it. But that nasty proving energy does not prove to be fruitful. So I've been asked to take a fresh approach with it and have another look at it and how I offer my goods and services and what it is I actually offer. So that's all brewing in the works. So my comeback, I think, in 2024 will look very different from how it looks now. But I can say there is one thing that has come out of all of that is meeting my delightful co-host and getting to spend time getting to know each other, because like we've said in previous episodes, we know each other kind of on that soul level, like, oh, there you are. Fantastic, you've finally shown up. I'm so appreciative of that. But we were working out that we don't really know each other too well on a human level. And we were discussing food tastes this morning. And I've decided that, you know, we need to know each other a little bit better when it comes to the human level. So that is my little bit of a blurb on a comeback. But I would love to get my partner in crime's thoughts on a comeback for him as to what he thinks it looks and sounds like.
Well, for me, the comeback is always was always related to like the sports uh, events, you know, like for me, it's going back to the time where my football team was playing and they were losing, and then they come back in the last minute, they score the goal, and we are all happy. And that was my perspective on comeback. And it's until I discovered like psychology and I was like, oh, you can come back to yourself. That's called a comeback as well. You can, like, when you're rising again from, because sometimes life event might make you feel that you're lost, depressed, stuck, and then you get that feeling that you're going nowhere. And then you take that moment to yourself where you dig in within you and find what you really enjoy or passionate about, and that's your comeback. And it's only, for me, it's come back to love. You're coming back to your light, and that's the spiritual side of things though. But in terms of the what we call in the 3D world, comeback can be seen like when you, for example, you get fired and you find another job, or more importantly, you build your business and you succeed in your business. Like you said about the breakup, you know, like coming back and feeling better and feeling happy within yourself first, and then finding that one person that makes you at peace with yourself, and actually you grow together.
Yeah,
That's a comeback as well. in terms of the example you get, but I feel the most important one is on the spiritual level because that connects everything.
Yes.
And once you come back to love and to truly who you are, everything, even if at start it felt like everything was falling apart, but actually when you come back to yourself, that's when everything.
Yeah.
And when you were talking, I felt that it was like the 5 stages of grief, like we learned that in psychology. Or I remember it's like you start off with denial, like you deny what's happening, and then and like you were saying, that fu moment is like that anger, and
Yeah.
then you start finding yourself, and you go through that depressive state, and then finally you will go to acceptance. You accept what's happening.
Yeah.
And that's in a nutshell like what's the 5 stages. But I feel that we go through that when we come back, because for me the greatest comeback is always, I always make reference to the sports world, like for example Michael Phelps, who was like a Olympic record holder, and then he quit swimming. He said like he didn't want to see a pool. He was training for 5 years straight, like no days off. And
Yeah.
then he won 8 gold medal, I think, or 8 medals. And then he was sick of it.
Yeah.
He didn't want to see a pool. And then he decided to come back, and he said like, because he went depression, and I feel that we all have events in our life where we felt that we are not coming back from that. We can't, like, how do we find that strength to actually rise up? And it's like rising again like the phoenix, like rising again like this. And for me, I have this image like your comeback is like rising from the ashes. Maybe you feel that people has like broken your heart, like have hurt you, but you are giving that power to them to hurt you, right?
Yeah.
And like you said, like when you realize how you started, for example, your business, uh, that it started with a fear base, right? And now you're shifting, which means the business will shift as well.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's where now you're coming from more a love base and actually falling in love with the business.
Yeah, and it's just, I think it's a redefine, as it always is when you come back. It's taking a 360-degree look at your input in any given situation, whether it's work, relationship, family, with yourself. Like, what are you putting in order to get the results that you're getting out of it? And then being really honest, really truly honest with yourself as to the reasons why you went in with that approach, and was that the result that you were expecting, or were you getting something different than you expected? But did people react or respond differently to what you had thought that they would? But ultimately, like you say, we are in control of our own reality because it's what we create. So if we choose to go through, because you don't have to, right? Spiritually, you do not have to go through a dark night of the soul. You do not have to tread this path. You can stay very comfortably in your 3D world. You get up, you go to work, you do the stuff. Relationships are good, bad, or indifferent. You might get married once, twice, 3 times, 10 times, because that's the way you're choosing to live your life. But those of us who are choosing to walk a different path, we can't just look at it on a surface level. So in order to be better at what we do, and in order to be better at who we are, in this go around, then we have to choose to love ourselves, with all the lurks and the quirks and the I don't like peas and I won't watch horror movies and I'm endeavoring to learn French and I'm still persisting with my running practice and all of the things that I'm doing because I'm endeavoring to have a truer understanding of who I am and to love where I'm at now and whilst holding a vision of where I want to be. So for me, sometimes it's not essentially a comeback, it's just a coming back round in terms of it being a cycle, so there's always going to be where you come in and you recognize that there's a need for change, that you're coming in at that 3 o'clock point on the clock and you're going, okay, well, I'm recognizing that there's a need for change and we're going to dip down. We're going to get dipped down because we're going to start to look at why there is a need for change and who are we really and where can we accept possibly that we were at fault or we were a causal effect for the thing that happened at work or the thing that happened in the relationship or the argument or the fight with your kids or whatever it happened to be. And then as you're coming between 6 and 9 o'clock, the recognition is starting to kick into where you're making change and embodiment is starting to happen. So you're integrating the changes that you want to make in your life. You're eating better. You're starting to exercise more. You're being kinder to the people around you. You're looking at them with love, even though they might be 15 and you might want to shake them silly because you don't understand their decision-making process, but you still ultimately love them for who they are. You might not agree with how they choose to think, but then you're coming up to 9 o'clock and then things are starting to get rosier because we're going, it's your life, it's your circus, it's your rodeo. You choose to ride it how you want to. So I'm going to choose to take care of myself. And then we're getting up to 12 o'clock and it's joyous and it's happy and it's loving and it's great. And then something else steps into your path that, when you ask for more joy, you get circumstances that are not so joyous. And when you ask for courage, you're not going to get courage. You're going to get circumstances that make you more courageous. So that's when we start to dip back down again to 3 o'clock. So it's the cycle. If you want to think about life, it's the cycle on the clock. So yes, it is a comeback, but it's also a deeper level of learning and it's a deeper level of embodiment and it's a deeper level of understanding not only yourself, but the people that surround you, if you choose to look.
If you're courageous enough, I would say,
Correct.
like to take that deep look inside of you, sorry. And I know like it's at times it feel like really scary, like you are like, oh, I don't want to go there. I don't want to go there. And sometimes life make you fall gracefully to stop
Or
you.
not so.
Like, uh, but it's not to like hurt you. It's not to, but it's actually to take time and to look inside. And that's where you use that feminine energy with the compassion, the love that you have for others, and actually dig in and use it for yourself. And just ask yourself, if you were the kid that's hurting right now, that's going through what you're going, what would you have told him or her? Right. And this week there was a question that really struck me. It was in one of the mastermind, like coaching mastermind I've been on to. It's like a networking event, and one of the guy asked, his mentor actually asked him that question, and I feel that's a question that bring you like come back to yourself. It's asking you like, what is keeping you so loyal to the life that you're stuck in?
Good question. Good question.
Right?
Yeah.
So that really struck me
Yeah.
because I was and I had this state. I was ooh, this is going like really deep. Like, what's keeping you, in other terms, it's like what's keeping you away from the life you desire or you wish for, or for
Why are
me
you
it's like
choosing to plant your feet there? You can plant your feet anywhere, but why there?
yeah, and that question like really struck me, and it's like, again, you have those reminders that yeah, you're doing your inner work, but maybe digging a little deeper, like go deeper, and that's coming back to your true self again, like finding out what you truly value. Is it like time freedom or financial freedom, or I'm just giving example right now, but it's like, what are your values?
Yeah.
What do you value more?
And it's a really interesting exercise because you can print off a list of values. You literally can Google it, print off a list of values, and then pick your top 10 out of, there might be 100 listed on the page, but pick your top 10. And that will take some time because there's a lot to look at and sift and filter through. And then from your top 10, pick your top 3. But do it for personal and do it for work, and see if they meet in the middle somewhere. See if the values for what you hold at work, whether it be your own business or working for somebody, and then do it for yourself personally. Does it correlate? Are they the same? So are you holding your values true across the board, or do you represent yourself differently in a work environment than you do in a personal environment? And then maybe that's a good question to go, well, why is there a gap between the two? Why does there have to almost be that cling film between this version of myself and this version of myself? Where can they possibly integrate? Or maybe can I apply some of my personal values into my workspace and vice versa, and see what results you get out of it? But I think all in all, it's, you have to come back to love. Like, if love is not your first principle, if it's not your first value, then there might be a little bit of work to do. just a fraction. Like I had this week, I took a tumble for watering my plants, because I chose to love my plants first instead of breathing and taking time for myself. So Margaret Mary gave me a very hard time out, where I thought perhaps I had broken a bone. And it's never good for your partner, who is a first responder, to come home and find you laid up and looking at you and going, are you okay? And then, no, I'm not. And not being in a very good space and going, well, if I had have just stopped rushing and taken some time and just had a cup of tea and just relaxed instead of trying to get all the stuff done before he came home from work, then our day would have been a little bit calmer and a little bit smoother. But this is the problem when we don't put ourselves first, because it comes back around to bite you in the butt. Is all I'm going to say. That comeback can look very different in various different ways. That if self-care is not prevalent, as your mum said this morning, self-care very important, Mr. Dava, that if you don't self-care, it's going to come and bite you in the butt, and you think that you are superwoman and you're super capable of doing lots of things. And I said no to 2 things that I was already saying yes to, and then I went, what else can I say no to? And then I realized I had to say no to what I was offering for my business and going, I'm going to clean sweep, and I'm just going to stop for a moment, and instead of putting out what I think I should offer, I'm going to sit and have a ponder and go, what would I love to offer? What would I love it to look like? And I think it may be radically different to what everybody else puts out. And I'm not going to care whether anybody else really wants it. But if I really love it and I put it out, then hopefully that means that someone else will want to do life with me as well and have a little bit of fun along the way. But I'm tired of the constant comparison. Like when we look at everybody online and we look at what everybody offers and these high ticket value offers and all of, and you get all of this stuff for the great price of $99. And I'm like, what day are you actually at? Like, are you at day 1? Are you at day 100? Are you at day 1000? Have you been at this for like 3 years? Have you been at it for 5 or 10 years? Like, all we see is 3 seconds of somebody and go, that looks really good. Maybe I should do that. Instead of taking the time to commune with ourselves and ask, well, what would I like to offer? Whether that be in your work, in your relationships, to yourself. What would I like to offer to myself as an expression of love and an expression of joy? What does that actually look like when I do that? Because if we get in an energy where we're trying to prove things, or we're trying to provide for others or care for others before we even think about ourselves, that's when we kind of get ourselves into a bit of trouble. And we get unintentionally injured, whether that's emotionally injured or whether that's physically injured or mentally injured or spiritually injured, because we don't take the time to listen. We get the pat up the backside of the head. So
I think the way I look at it, for me, like spiritually, you can't get injured because you're already healed and whole. But definitely like the emotional, mental, and physical, which I'm glad that you didn't get injured, like which was more damaging, like to your body, because I know you have a goal in terms of the physical health. And it's funny, like when you have those physical health goal, there's always those kind of setback. And that's constant reminder, even if how hard you're pushing yourself in terms physically, you need to take time for you to rest and to get, because all athlete will tell you how their recovery is so important.
Yeah, the deload week is important, right?
Yeah.
I got
and you
one.
had one. You had one which you didn't plan. And but I was like, yep, thank God for that, and thank Mother Mary for reminding her to take some time off. And I think like we all get reminders like this, like to come back to our true self. And I love how you said, is it their day 1?
Yeah.
Or is it their day 100 or 1000, whatever it is? Because it's so easy now. You go on TikTok, because we were talking about that before, like about those readings or those messages, channel messages, and it's so easy to get entangled with that. But it's funny, like in the book that I'm reading on channeling, like there's the Arcturian Council of Light, which the person call it, and they all say the same. It's just like Abraham Hicks as well said the same. It's like whenever you're doing that inner work, that spiritual work, sometimes it's good that you stop reading anyone's else material and you just focus on the book within you. You stop listening to all the podcasts, you stop listening to all watching, especially the news is like highly, it tell you like, no, that's a no. It's definite a no. Uh, but it's reading that book within you. And I like the idea how you said like about the values, like you have those 100 values. And it's funny, like I was reading that one book called Letters to the Starseed by Rebecca Campbell.
Oh,
And
okay, yeah.
she has one of in that book there's two pages actually, and she put those different like titles or values or strength or skills randomly across the pages, and she tells you look at them, whatever pops out for you, that's speaking to your soul. Like you will find that one thing that speak to you. For example, there were healer, that's what I saw, like seeker, like soul seeking, all of that.
Yeah.
And it's I feel that's, like we said, like coming back to yourself constantly, and the universe will have ways to remind you that, yep, it's time you go back to yourself, you're not listening. And like we were having that chat and you were asking like how, because we watched both a video about like financial freedom in a way, and
Manifesting money out of nowhere, basically.
yeah. And we like I was reading the comment and you asked the same question like how. And it's like how, and for me it all goes down to that. And we all have that moment. Like I had this, even like when I was watching the video, like the first 10 seconds I was like how, just say how. And I bet like by the end of the 3 minutes you won't say how. You will say like sign up for a boot camp, sign up for my course, or sign up for something to know more. And I'm sure of that. Like, and technically it didn't happen but for this one, but in her subsequent videos there was like, yep, you can connect with me, you can contact me. And I
Here's
was
my
like,
hook. Here's my bait and
yeah,
my hook.
yeah,
And I've got you all, like,
yeah,
and the thing is, it only takes 1,000 people, right, to buy something at $100, and there you go. Do you know what I
yeah.
mean? Like in terms of making money appear
Mm.
out of nowhere. That's money appearing out of nowhere, right?
Yeah, and there was this I don't know if you were the one who sent me that video of that guy who say how easy it is to make like $1 million. Like he says 1 times 1 million, and he does the math 10 times like 100,000 and goes like this. And I was like, yep, you find your product or service and finding what you truly love. And it's funny, like in that book that I referred earlier about the channeling of the Arcturian counseling of light, it always say like come back to love, do what makes you feel happy. And it could be involving like having a cup of coffee, but in that moment you could be connecting with yourself, because you, connecting with your higher self, I would say, because you're calm, you're open, you're receptive, and you're not thinking about anything else. And that's when the message come in. And we were having a laugh about saying like closing your eyes and walking into nature, but it's actually, yeah, I didn't say it in the right order. So Tina reminded me of that, and I was like, yeah, she
Don't
used
close
her
your
dog.
eyes and let the dogs lead you. Probably not a good plan.
If you want to swim in the lake or in the sea, then
In the
maybe
river,
yes.
then yes, maybe.
Or if they
Not
are
good when you've
running.
got your phone and your keys and all the stuff with you. Probably
No,
not the best bet.
but it's like they were saying like simple stuff like coming back to yourself. It's not meditating only on the yoga mat or something like that. It's not just spending hours and hours doing that, but it's always finding what's the next thing that's going to make you happy. For example, you were talking about the business is like what makes you happy, like what makes you happy to serve others, and asking you those questions. And I feel that the universe found a way to finally stop you into that train of thought when it's going way too fast and your mind is going all over the place. And it's like, And we all have those moments. Like maybe sometimes for me, I notice when I'm driving and it's at the traffic lights, if it's a positive thought, it will be all green. And I take that as a message. But when it's like red light, it's like, oh yeah, you're not focusing. Like you are thinking something that's not worthy. And I like to play with that, like with the traffic lights, and just see how it goes.
I have to try that one. That's a good one. I like that.
Between the gym and my place, there's 5 traffic lights. So I normally play with that. Like, yeah, tell me, like I will also say yes or no question, and just for fun, I will ask that. And it's funny, like when you're aligned.
Should I be a $40 million lotto winner?
Yeah.
Yes.
And that gives you faith, right? It gives you that faith. It's funny, it's fun, but it's like, oh yeah, that validates what I'm thinking. And you will notice is like sometimes when I'm not aligned, I know that, like with the red light, or it's, you know, like it's changing to yellow, I'm like, oh, I'm on the edge, so this is adventurous, right? This gets thrilling right now, and I'm like, oh yeah, what's the next thought? What should I
bungee? Wait.
Yeah,
no one's kicked me in the chest yet.
Yeah, that's the goal. That's the goal. But it sounds fun, right?
Well, it's an interesting way of getting answers to your questions, right? Like if you don't get answers, like it's an inner voice talking to you, or you're having conversations with yourself, then I think, it's a real, because, you know, I get over looking up what my angel numbers mean because yesterday I asked for 777s, and I walked past and there was a car with 777 on the number plate. And as I walked up a bit further, there was 777 on a car that drove past. And when I worked at the boutique yesterday, there were markdowns to do for something, and all of the markdowns, there were 4 lots of them, all started with 777. I'm like, okay, now we're speaking.
But that's giving you faith, like it's validating
the
what
sign
you
I
ask.
asked for, right?
That's the sign. And it's like always, whatever you ask, you get it. Like sometimes whatever you ask, you feel that you're not getting it, but when you're actually listening and taking time to receive and being open, I think being open and receptive to the sign matters as well. It's not just like asking and then, yeah, whatever, if it comes, it comes. It's like, yeah, no, it's
but
having
it's
that
coming
faith.
back to your true self, right? Like, and acceptance is sometimes it just feels like a straitjacket, because we had that conversation yesterday about embracing gifts that we have, and how do we go about offering those gifts to others, and what does that look like? And then you go, who cares what it looks like, just offer it. Because that's coming back to who you truly are, and understanding about your lineage and what you're meant to, you know, what the women of your family or the men of your family are put on the earth to do. And mine are healers. That's what we're here to do, except my modality is a little different to what it was 100, 200, 300, 400 years ago. But I think a comeback is a remembrance. It's a soul's recognition of who you're meant to be. And we hope with these conversations that we create a recognition or a remembrance within yourself as to, this is who I'm meant to be. This is where I'm meant to be. This is what I'm meant to be doing. This all makes sense for me right now. So that's what I'm slowly waking up to is by having these conversations.
Yeah.
I am creating a recognition and a remembrance within myself that my voice is exceptionally powerful and I have the ability to change other people for the better by creating a recognition and a remembrance within them as to their potential and the possibilities for their life when they solely and fully embrace love. Because without love, what's the point?
And I would like to add something about the modalities, like you were saying, like for you feel it's a little different. It should be different because everyone is different. And for you, it's like you say, like in your family, like in your lineage, right? There's healers. So I feel that it's all those healers combining whatever they learn is coming through you. So that's why it look different and it feels different. And as like we are, like we both are like empath and all of that, it's like we feel that ancestral lineage coming through. And we often ask like, why did we sign up this contract and why it's happening to us? And but when we keep asking that, it's going nowhere. It's like just our ego. And this morning I had a chat with another coach and he was saying like, just remember like to keep your ego safe. Your ego needs to feel safe. Your ego needs to feel love. And remind yourself that even if you have those soul purpose within you, just remind yourself that your ego needs some safety. And that's why we always ask, why is this happening to us? And then when you read the spiritual seekers or teachers, they will tell you like, rather ask, what is that moment teaching you? What is this moment teaching me?
I know, and that question sucks sometimes. Bad, really, really bad. But then you go, I listened to a podcast yesterday and it said, we never get anything that we do not have the capacity to handle. We are never given situations, we are never given people, we are never given challenges, upheavals, all the good stuff as well. We're never given things that we do not have the capacity to handle. And especially, like you say, when you ask for more love, you're going to get more people that are just not very pleasant to deal with, or you've asked for more courage, or you've asked for more bliss or more joy or more happiness. The universe ain't going to give you that in a pretty box tied up with a pretty bow and going, there you go, kid, there's your happiness in a box and there's your joy in a box. It's going to give you situations to see if you can find the joy, the happiness, the courage, the love, the bliss, the whatever it is in that moment. Can you hold the challenge, the ugly, the difficult boss, the guy that cut you off in the traffic, the owner with the crappy dog down at the dog park? Can you, in amongst all of that, can you find the thing that you asked for? And it was something my mother always said to me, be careful what you ask for, because you might just get it. And so it's being mindful in the moment. I asked for joy. Okay, I'm down the park, the sun's shining, I'm walking my dogs, but someone's got a crappy dog who's come over and been all aggressive. Can I maintain my element of joy and happiness and basking in the sunshine while I'm dealing with an owner who's got a crappy dog? it will take all of my summoning grace and power and bliss to go, could you please restrain your dog, with a bright, cheery smile on my face, and go, I'm sorry you're having a bad day. But I'm not. And I refuse to let your bad day wash over my good one. But it's a perspective, right? It's just a perspective on how we choose to utilize the skills that we have in order to quickly come back to alignment, come back to who we are. Because if you give other people the power to alter or change your mood, your disposition, any element of your day, then they have the power to do it to you always.
Yep, that's so true. And it's funny, like you were talking about the example with the dog owners, and it's like every single moment, the moment you ask for joy, is like the universe say, okay, we're going to see how much joy you're going to find in every single moment. And that's coming back, like you said, to your true self, to who you truly are, right?
And how quickly you can ride all of that, whether that wheel be 2 seconds, 2 minutes, 2 days, 2 weeks, 2 months, depending on how long it takes you to ride that wheel to come back.
Yep.
And how quickly you can come back to alignment and be loving, not only to yourself, but to your environment, to the people around you.
Yeah. And Gabrielle Bernstein talk about this, about your comeback rate, like how fast can you come back to to love, to alignment, like you said.
Speaking of dogs at the moment, I have to open the door for mine.
That's all good.
2 seconds.
That's the joy of recording live. So like Gabrielle Bernstein was saying, like, how fast can you come back? Whatever you're going through, whatever is happening in your life, is like, how fast can you come back to love? And for me, I noticed that over the years, my comeback rate has increased. Like in terms, it has shortened, I would say. Like I go back way quicker. It doesn't take me like months. It used to
spring
take
back
years.
like on a trampoline, when you lay back on your back and you spring straight back up.
And that's why people will say, oh, you're always positive, you're always like, for you it's all about the universe, and that's how they put it. It's like, yeah, the universe teach me every single moment to come back to love and to trust and to have faith. So it's same like you, but I made a choice to come back to who I am. I made a choice. I always choose to have faith and to trust. And no matter I have my human moments of feeling down or feeling let down or feeling, maybe I don't like using that label of depressed or anxiety or anxious, because I feel now people are labeling themselves way too quickly and say, oh, I'm depressed, or I'm anxious, or I'm feeling anxious or something. And I feel that's a labeling. But if you tell yourself in that moment, oh, I'm having a moment of anxiety, but I choose love, I choose freedom, I choose forgiveness, I choose to feel good. And that change. The moment you say I'm willing, or I'm choosing, or I'm shifting, the universe is like, oh, okay, yeah, we got you. Like, we got you. And you will do your happy dance just like Tina is doing right now. For people listening, you can't obviously see it, but she's doing her happy dance. But it's how you will feel.
Right? Yeah.
Yes.
That's the whole bit out of all of it, is that you feel supported not only in your own actions, but by also what you're seeing around you. That's like, okay, that's the next best step, because it feels good. It's supposed to feel good. It might feel like you've got butterflies and you're kind of leaning into something that's a little bit scary, but at the same time, it feels good. So what's the next step that you can make to coming back to yourself that feels good? What's the one step that you can take to peel off someone else's voice or banana skin that they've chucked on you, or whatever it happens to be, to feel good?
Yeah, it's when you were sharing that, I could see an image coming to me. It's like just like the bungee jump, like you attach, you're safe. It's like, the universe has your back. You always come back to the starting point. Like it might feel scary, but once your
I might
friend
be
just,
saying a few choice words in French on my way down.
once your friend just push you or gently with so much love and tell you take that leap of faith,
Breathe. Push.
it's like, yeah, I got your back, and then you just push it and push you, and that's fine. I got your back because I trust that you will come back safely. And
I'll be
that's
bringing back plenty of times, mate.
and if you want to say F you, Deva, that's fine. The universe will hear you. But that's it's a funny analogy. I know we always go back to that fun part of the bungee jumping, but honestly, this is how sometimes life feel. Like you look down and you're like, you see the height of it and you see how deep it is, or and then you start feeling anxious. You have all these emotions just right now. If you're visualizing, if you ever been on bungee jump, you know what I'm talking about. It's like even my hands already sweating, but that's because it's
My
hot
heart
here.
rate's going up as well.
I could see like Tina dancing and she's saying like, no, this is not happening. Like, why did I sign up for that? What got through my mind? And this is how it feels when you're trusting the universe, because it's your ego telling you not to have that faith. I need to keep you safe. Something bad will happen. You will think of all the possible accident in the world, which may be one in a million. But don't worry. When you have your friend, like the universe, it can't happen. It's just
This is not how I'm supposed to die.
yeah. See, if it happens while you're watering your plants, that's something else.
It is something else.
But here you're safe with the bungee cord. But this is just for fun. We are saying that.
Oh, just for fun.
But we are not
Absolutely.
telling you to now go sign up for bungee jump or something. We don't own one yet. But I know once Tina do it, she will be like, yeah, we are investing in that. That's our retreat, like spiritual retreat. We'll make people jump off the
Testing
cliff.
our faith.
Yeah, with the bungee jump. It's to have that faith, but it's trusting, I feel.
Yeah.
This is how it feels at time that you feel the cord is not attached, like there's nothing holding you, and you're going so quickly down, and then it's like all of a sudden you have that cord that grab you and pull you back, and then you spring back up, and then you see your friend smiling at you and videoing you
Still
and just
doing
putting
this.
and you're swearing a lot, and you're like, because
Why are
but
we
you
friends? I would question all of those.
you will question it, all of that, but it's like
Yep.
you're questioning the divine, right? When something is not happening, but then you see yourself coming back to that safe point, to that, oh, this feels good, like this is what I'm meant to feel. This makes me feel happy, this make me feel safe, but it's just taking that leap of faith sometimes. That's what you need. And rising again like the phoenix, like rising again from, maybe you felt that something burnt you off, like you're lost, like I said earlier, but you're not. You're
No.
finding yourself.
And I think if you utilize the mantra of, it's okay that I don't know. It's okay that I don't know what's coming next. It's okay. It's okay to take uncharted roads. an uncharted territory and just go with where you're being led. Because they don't lead you in the wrong direction or for the wrong purpose. They're all lessons that you need to have, good, bad, or indifferent. You know, and I'm sure there's some lesson in me needing to bloody bungee jump, but Christ knows what that'll be. But we'll work that out when we get there.
It is. But I feel that people will get some nuggets out of this episode, but you must take the action, you know, like when you get that nudge about, for example, writing down the values, writing down the strength, or getting that nudge to go for a walk, even if it's feeling like, oh, I don't want to get out of bed, just go for it. Or getting that nudge to call that friend, even if you're in pain, that's okay. You can have a good laugh, you know, and that can help you to shift. Yeah.
It can. It absolutely can.
Yeah.
But as always, my friend, it's been a divine conversation, always navigating this mess.
It is.
That we called life. And it's such a pleasure doing it with good friends. When you find good ones, hang on to them because they're worth their weight. So from all of us to all of you, we love you. You're amazing. You've got this. Take the leap of faith and just jump.
And just come back to yourself, come back to your true self, and trust that there's something that's keeping you safe. Even if you don't believe in the universe, trust that there's something bigger than you that has been keeping throughout your life safe and love. And like Tina said, we all love you. So on that note, take good care of yourself, have a good week, and get ready for our 20th episode next week. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
See you.
Ciao. Bye.